I just want the ammo for when they do.
Well, here's the thing too, on that.
$15 and a half. I needed that this morning. Oh, that's awesome. No pushing. There's no pushing.
He said he's a few minutes late.
One of my greatest accomplishments just happened this last week. Over in New York, when we took barbecue, Lester Hope lives right there, and his wife. They put their house on the market because she couldn't stand the smoke on the barbecue. I said, we need to relocate to her new house.
Really?
We used to put a guy on the plane. We used to put a guy there.
Thank you.
He cooked a bunch of
So once a year she didn't like.
It was terrible.
My respect for Lester Holt was enough too. Right there.
New York is she's hard to find. Like it's hard to find places.
It was already on the decline.
It was already on the decline.
I mean, she's very, very political.
So we got to do a Secret Service too. She lives right across the street.
She still gets, well, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
She still gets Secret Service.
Yep. For life.
There's another one there. I don't know who it is.
I know Bill and Hillary do. I didn't know. Maybe it's
We just already already. We'll have Christian a few minutes late.
Welcome everyone. I'm now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Gallagher. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Alderman Payne will lead us today.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for the ability to meet here tonight, Lord. Lord, we pray for your wisdom as we go throughout our budget, and we ask for your blessings on our city. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just to remind everyone, this is our budget workshop, and this meeting is designed to allow department heads a few minutes to address the full board, talk about priorities. We had a meeting on July 6th where I laid out a plan. This plan was generated after meeting 101 with all the department heads. So some of the stuff, we'll bypass today because it would be a duplication of what we talked about on July the 6th. So for the department heads, when you come forward, let's try to keep it quick. We're going to try to cover a lot in a short amount of time as possible. So please keep your comments under 10 minutes. If you do not need to make comments, that's fine too. Just be available for questions. I'm going to start with a few of the departments that have a relatively simple discussion, some of which has already been presented to me. So I'll do the presentation for those. And then again, the department head is here for any questions from the board. Again, we will have a public budget hearing before the budget is set. At that time, it will be the official public hearing where citizens or anyone else can ask questions. This meeting today is not that. This is a workshop between the department heads of the city and the board, so there will be no discussion from anyone in the audience. So we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, we'll start with the city clerk's office. Andrea, I think yours is pretty simple, cut and dry. Is there anything that you want to add, or basically the only thing we're doing there is basically bringing salaries up? We have new people. We're bringing those equal to the other clerks in the office that do the same thing. Basically, that was it. Was there anything else? You were also very helpful in offering to do budget cuts. So every department did step up and agree to help us achieve our goal of a 10% budget cut across the board, and Andrea and her department did that as well. Was there anything that we needed to add in your department? Okay. Did anyone with the board have any questions for Andrea or the city clerk? Okay, some of the other departments will get a little more detailed, so we'll go ahead and move on. The next one is our municipal court. I did talk with Court Clerk Thomas Maston yesterday. Again, his is pretty cut and dried. We'll tell you about a couple of things there. Again, his main thing, he had one or two people that had finished their 12 months that we had requested their pay be adjusted to the other court clerks that had the same ranking. So that was in my budget plan as well. He does have long-term plans of renovating the court. The area that is vacant now, we're not there yet. We started a process last year of going paperless there, starting to scan files, reorganize the file. We have a new software where we can put court records electronically, which will improve our efficiency and save space with paper. So we're in the process now of having a permanent full-time person, which Thomas requested, that will help us do that scanning to help us go paperless. So until that time, we don't need the extra room, but when that is done, we're going to want to expand the facility where we would have offices where the current clerks are now. We want to make adjustments and use that vacant space that used to be a wellness center. Is that right? Yes. All right, where the wellness center used to be, that's all vacant, so we want to do some renovation. That's not needed until 2019. So there's really no other budget request from Thomas, unless am I leaving anything out? Okay. Did anyone have any questions for Mr. Thomas Maston?
Mayor, mostly just in regards to the amount of the raises. This included the raise across the board that everybody's going to be getting. They're going to get this, in this case, a $1.50 raise versus a $1 raise in the clerk's department, and the additional on top of that.
Correct. What I call the targeted raises included these requests specifically from the department head. So I'll work those into the targeted raises, and then the general across the board raise would be in addition to the adjustments in the salary. That way it keeps everybody, it keeps it comparative. Like, we don't want to get the pay scale skewed. If you got two people doing the same thing, you know, with the same, basically the same experience, they should be making the same thing. It should be, if we realize that we have a few situations like that where it was off, so that's what we're trying to correct with the exact merit pay raises. I did, since it is personnel, I do have a list of all those targeted raises. That's a very small part of what the total is with across the board. So that's something from a personnel standpoint, really don't want to talk about that out front. So we'll talk about personnel 101. If you have any questions specifically about that, I can answer those.
Okay, we'll do that.
But yeah, your question though, this is an addition to the across the board. That way we don't skew the pay scale. Did I answer your question?
Yes, we'll discuss the personal.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get with you with that. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Floor open for municipal court. Any other questions about that? One other thing, y'all know that we did add a Monday court, so that's gone well. Thomas and his staff have done a great job with our judges and attorneys. So we've added the Monday court. That's operating very well.
I have a question regarding the scanning project. It says this project in 2018 will be paid for through utility funds. How are we going to do that?
I don't know that we made that decision yet.
Well, what was the question?
You said that on the scanning project that you're going to do this year, that you're going to pay for it through utility funds.
Well,
Software, I think.
yeah, the utility department is considering purchasing the same software that we were considering purchasing. So when we looked at the court supplies budget for 2017, we put an additional $20,000 in there to purchase it. But it looks like the utility department is going to use the same software that we're going to use, so it made more sense for the utility department to purchase it than the court department, since since it'll be a city, city, and every department, several departments can use it in addition to utilities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Any other questions for Thomas? Okay, we'll move on. Believe it or not, I think Whitney's going to be short-winded today, so we'll go ahead and bring Whitney out. This may be the rarest occasion in history.
I was actually just going to come and say I don't really have anything
Just
to say.
joking.
If you have any questions.
For all you overly serious people, I'm just joking.
But no, we took out vehicles, we asked for vehicles last year. We've removed those, our fleet's up to date, everything's in good shape. Made the cuts that we could per the mayor's request. I think we made a significant cut. The only thing is we had 2 building inspectors. We took Harold out of that one position, put him up in code enforcement. We're looking to replace him, but we want to have a more qualified electrical inspector there. Got a lot of commercial going on, and we feel like an electrical inspector is a pretty significant incentive for us. You got a lot of hotels going in, and without having some electrical background, it's a little rough. That proposal's at a $50,000 new position. It will kind of be offset by what we're paying him already, but otherwise than that, everything's the same.
There were Whitney did provide 90,000 in operational pay cuts, so I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Any questions for Whitney? Go ahead, just before you sit down, can you tell us about, like we did last year, about, and I spoke for Andrea and Thomas, but priorities, like 3 things that you see in the future that are big priorities for your department.
Well, I think the biggest thing right now is getting our manpower in our building inspection section. As everybody knows, building is coming up. A lot of development going on right now. We're sitting with the chief building official, a part-time field inspector, because we're utilizing Harold in 3 different areas right now, and then we have our 1 full-time inspector. So main priority is to get us fully staffed there. And again, our second priority, always one of our priorities, is to get everybody cross-trained. We have a lot of cross-training going on right now between code enforcement and the building inspection side, and I think once that finalizes out, it's going to work really well from both standpoints. Otherwise than that, with across the board pay increase, my employees are happy, our equipment's great. Obviously, if we can get everybody together in one area of City Hall, that would be our 3rd priority, just to help development flow better. But otherwise than that, we're good.
Once we get everyone cross-trained, will we need to hire more people to
No.
be fully staffed?
No, the idea we've got, there's times when development's slow, when it's cold, when it's rainy, development slows down. In the summertime, obviously, code enforcement increases, tall grass, political seasons. So what we hope to do is in the lulls in one department, we'll be able to step over to the other department and help. So you'll have essentially 3 on this one side, you'll have 5 over here. Combined together, that's more than we've ever had staff there. Now I can tell you, when we lost a code enforcement officer, we opted to not place another one there as his replacement, because honestly, wards 5 and 6 don't have a lot of code enforcement issues. So we've combined those wards and gone down to 5 officers as opposed to the 6. So that helps maneuver some money between the building inspection side and code enforcement. So.
I got a question. You made a significant cut to city beautification.
Yes.
Are there any new projects? Is this just for maintaining what we have now, or are there any new projects planned?
No, the projects we're planning right now, and the mayor can speak on this, is kind of both our pet project, but our entrance signs are the big thing for this year. That's really kind of his baby, so I'll let him speak on that. For my side, I like to find what I call my pet projects around beautification, the boulevards, landscaping some areas. We're looking at some different scenarios. One of the things I looked at when I was going back and forth to baseball in Batesville is they had the American flags at the interchanges, and I thought that was great. Just things like that. But the main big project that's coming through will be the entrance signs. And that's why we felt like we could reduce down from the 275 last year down to 100 in an effort to also give the across the board raises. If we see we run low, we can always ask for more next year.
Go ahead, sorry. Is the condemnation, is that going to be enough for the increase that we've been seeing?
Condemnations have actually, once we started assessing the properties versus liens, it's amazing how people all of a sudden started taking it a little bit more seriously. So the condemned properties has gone down, and we've just kind of watched our balance this year on average what we're using, and I feel like this is a good safe number we can work with.
And to finish the answer to the question on beautification, that's a one-year sacrifice. We would expect to request more next year.
Yes.
That was just, that's a 902 fund, which I manage the 902 accounts. And that's a 902 account that we just simply said, we have bigger priorities this year. You know, the raises and infrastructure improvement is more important this year. So that's basically my effort to trim my parts of the budget. So we will expect to raise that again next year because 100, what we take it to 100?
We're at 100. We took out 175 of it.
Yeah, so 100,000 will not be enough to do some of the things that we want to do, but we're just going to push some of those things off. Basically, like Whitney said, our main thing last year we got the city entrance signs done, and we bought the metro signs that we're in the process of installing now. But the brick entrance signs on Interstate 55, those are the two biggest goals, and we have some small landscaping projects we can do. But eventually, there's some other things that we want to do. We'd like to make the I-55 interchanges more attractive. We'd like to put wrought iron fencing up and down, take the old nasty vines going through the chain link, take all that down. That will be fairly costly.
Is there no Charlies?
All of them, yeah, all three. And we want to put wrought iron fencing on the ramps at all three interchanges, but that's costly. So we've decided to bump that back again just to make sacrifices for this year.
Do we have easement for that?
Certainly. Well, we have.
And we've spoken to MDOT. Basically, they supply a cyclone fence, and if we choose to go above and beyond that, they'll give us the cost of the cyclone fence repair, and we pay the difference. So it's a pretty good scenario.
They'll let you do whatever you want as long as you pay for it.
Yeah.
Never mind. I mean, they're cooperative.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
That's true, and they're very cooperative.
Yeah, very.
And as you know, at one time the landscaping and the right-of-way cutting was done by MDOT. Now they've been gracious enough to give us all three interchanges. Any other questions for Whitney? Thank you. Okay, Ray Humphrey, will you come up and Ray should be fairly short too. We talked about his issues. The main things I want to tell you as it relates to utilities, and not to get too far ahead of Ray, but our biggest projects there were, we have a new well that's being dug now at Star Landing Road near the curve there. We realized that our water capacity was getting lower than our standards, so we do have the well that's being dug now. In addition to that, we have a project where we're adding fire hydrants to the annexed areas that didn't have sufficient water lines to have the fire hydrants that we need throughout the city. That's a massive project, about a $4 million project, so we've broken that down in certain projects per year, I believe over a 3 or 4 year plan, and we have already started that. The first one is near Hunter Road on Star Landing Road as well. But those are the things that related to my bigger picture as far as public safety that relate to Ray. But Ray, take the floor, please.
That's correct. They are down there working on Hunter Road South right now. They're getting locates called in, so we should have fire protection in that subdivision here real soon. So that's going good. But really our budget this year from the utility department is pretty close to last year in amounts. But there's really two goals that I had, was to, as we continue improving the water and sewer system, at the same time try to keep the rates as low as possible for the citizens. And secondly was getting our, as the mayor presented, getting our employee bar set a little higher, not just with comparable positions in other departments, but with other utility departments too. So I feel like we've got the best utility workers, and I'd like to pay them what the rest of the people get paid for that type of work. So we've been low on that end, and hopefully with y'all's permission we can fix that. All that still remains in budget. We're able to balance the budget that way. But outside of that, the goals, I think the mayor probably already went over those, was the consolidation of our billing and collection office here at City Hall. We hopefully at the end of this week we'll have that done. We'll be all moved in here at City Hall. Starting Monday, we'll be ready to go. Shutting down Pepper Chase for taking payments is going to be a little inconvenience, but we are adding another drop box. As soon as it comes in, it's going to be out there by the parks office somewhere. And we'll put that on the website, let people know they can drop their payments off there. We pick those up every morning, so I think it'll be a trade-off. We're making it a little bit more convenient for the people that normally would come by to make a payment. They can make it out there where there's a lot of growth. And number 2 was the fire extension projects that we're doing. Phase 1 this year and phase 2 next year, but Hunter Road South area mainly, and then the well, as the mayor mentioned. So that and the automatic meter reading that we've been working with for the last 2 or 3 years, trying it out, is working really good. So we're getting to that point now where we're gonna go ahead and implement, with y'all's approval, a larger part of the system, so we can get that going where we can get up with the technology that's currently out there, so make it more efficient for our billing and also for the meter reading. So that's pretty much it, if y'all have any questions.
Are we looking to replace, when you say the automatic meter reading, are you talking about like for all the replacing at all the houses?
That's correct. We've done quite a few of them, but there's still a majority of the system as well.
Don't we do that in phases?
We've done it as we've been putting new meters in. That's what we've been putting in. So the last probably 3 years, when we set new meters and so forth, it's been that style of meter. So
and we're still outsourcing our meter reading, correct?
That's correct.
Where's that in the budget line? How much we're spending for that? And is that going down with the?
That will probably the first year, once we get everything changed out, you know, we'll have them that year, and then we'll drop them off pretty quick at that point. It pretty much offsets the cost of that. So.
Is it in the budget anywhere?
I'm not seeing the budget line for it.
Let's see.
You can't see much on the first page at all, by the way.
Yeah.
You got my readers up.
Yeah.
And it's under 825, halfway down the water meeting.
Yeah, water metering, that's right.
You got that.
230.
And the goal is to eliminate that altogether, though, the
Yes.
ultimate goal.
It's going to be completely eliminated.
And make us more efficient. It's no secret that there's always a degree of inaccuracy with meter reading, so our staff, our water staff, spends an enormous amount of time, you know, discussing discrepancies with citizens about their meter reading. So this obviously is designed to make us tremendously more efficient with our more accurate meter readers, and to cut down some of the time that our personnel spend with telephone calls, you know, discussing that.
I thought we were gonna were we not going into taking debt out to go the meter reading route, Chris? Is that right?
We're gonna get, yes, and that 235 that we're paying to Baker now would transfer to the debt payment.
Right.
For the automatic meter reader. We're doing the cash for the water tower and for the extensions.
Okay.
But the revenue bond will be used for the meter reading.
For the meter reading.
Offset by that cost reduction that we're spending on meter reading now going down, and then rolling that over to a.
That's correct.
Ray, these new meters should help us with our citizens to identify problems before our citizens may know, won't it?
It can do that, so it is definitely a tool that when we come out and meet with the customer, when they have issues, that we can explain it, and it's right there. It shows exactly where the water's going, what time it's going, and everything. So I know some of y'all, we've actually done that for y'all just to show you how it works. But you know, meter reading for the last couple of years has been very good. The company that we use, they've been consistent. We've had very little complaints. But if you go back a year before that, y'all remember, it was pretty rough. And even when we did it in-house, you could go years where you had good meter reading, and then something happened, and it just, when it goes bad fast, and it just creates havoc on the office, and also, you know, the citizens' confidence in us. So this takes all that out of the equation.
Any other questions for Ray? And again, I tell you, but I want to tell you again, if you don't know it, we have outstanding crews in the utilities department. They're extremely proactive. I mean, any issue that's there, they're 9 out of 10 times they've been on it before anybody ever calls to report that, and they're on call, you know, weekends, whatever. They do a tremendous job. So I appreciate the effort that you and your department put forth. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay, and next, Bradley Wallace with Public Works, please. As Bradley's coming up, again, some of the things that Bradley supervises are 902 accounts, which are, you know, closely supervised by me as well. Just some of the things, just real quickly, that are in Bradley's department, just to save us some time, I talked about on July 6th. I realized over the last 4 years, well, I told everyone that I would give my assessment after the first 4 years on how we can make our operation better. And the recent storm on May 28th really shed some light on just how at risk we are when we rely 100% on outside contractors. And it's for that reason, and the fact that I've realized what a bare bones crew we have in Public Works. You know, Public Works, there is an enormous amount of demands on Public Works. That's our streets, our sanitation, rubbish, recycling, all that comes through there. Your streets, your potholes, anything to do with right-of-ways, you know, manages the right-of-way contracts, the bush hogging, manicured right-of-ways, all that falls under Public Works. Bradley also acts in a dual role. He's our facilities director as well. So there's some things that I've witnessed that can make us better. And one of those is I just simply believe we've had a poor experience with some of our outside contractors. I think we can bring some of the things back in-house. That's been my proposal to buy bush hogging equipment and bring that back in-house, hire 6 new people to do that. That not only allows us to do a better job of managing our right-of-ways, but also it adds the MDOT right-of-ways. I mean, MDOT only cuts the right-of-ways twice a year. That's Interstate 55. You know, when you come into our city, many people, the only thing they see about Southaven, Mississippi is what they see from I-55. And it's just, it doesn't meet my standards. It just simply does not meet my standards. If I'm going to be mayor of this city, Interstate 55 is not going to look like that in Southaven. So that's been one of my priorities, is to add 6 new personnel in Public Works, buy bush hogging equipment. That way we keep the interstate looking better and all our right-of-ways looking better. Also, we talked about in my plan about bringing some of the drainage work back in-house. You know, we pay outside parties to do a lot of repairs to our street drainage systems. There's things that our staff can do if they had the equipment, which we believe can trim our costs significantly. So in my plan, there's also a proposal to purchase the equipment to do some of the drainage repairs as well. And then last thing is, as it relates to facilities, Bradley knows that anything that happens to any of our buildings, you know, we don't have our own maintenance staff. We're calling someone. So I mean, you have something as simple as a toilet malfunction or whatever, we're calling a plumber. You know, and these are things that, you know, lighting, HVAC, plumbing, these are things that we believe if we spend some money and hire our own maintenance technician, that we can save a tremendous amount of money off that, what was it last year, 1.2 for facilities maintenance?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in my proposal, I recommended cutting that, bringing that down, because we believe with our own maintenance personnel that we can save a lot of money there. But those were the things that Bradley oversees that were part of my plan, so I'll turn the floor over to you, Bradley.
I think I'm done. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any questions for Bradley? No.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate your comments. And just real quickly, just to get through the quick ones first, animal control is also part of my responsibilities. You know they do a great job. I don't really have anything. We're not the only budget issue. Animal control that we've requested is salary related for the staff there, as shown in the paper and the information you have from me. Facilities also pretty quick. As the mayor said, the main thing is the maintenance technician. That could really help us get a lot of things. You know, we don't have a good vehicle for doing some really basic repairs and maintenance. We feel that could, if we get the right person in there, we could really help with that. Otherwise, there's some projects listed I would recommend that we consider including in that budget. for the next year's maintenance-related things at some of our facilities. Sanitation, the main thing there, as we get into public works, is we look forward next year to consolidating the contracts if possible, or at least revisiting the contracts we have for garbage and rubbish right now, and possibly recycling, but certainly consolidation is something we're interested in to see how that works, see if it would benefit the city. Those are, we feel like it's going to make a difference. Certainly give us an opportunity to improve some things that we've been concerned about. Even as he mentioned, the storm, things like that have shown that we need to possibly make some changes there. We need the opportunity to do that. We'll see that next year as those contracts all kind of come to you at the same time. Main thing is the streets area. Are asking for salary increases in public works as well with existing staff that we feel are the ones that are, again, in information you have that are we feel are appropriate for the people we have doing a good job. We want to keep them motivated and encouraged to keep working with us on all these things as we grow. We do feel our main goal is to continue to try to do as much in-house as we can when we feel we can do it as good or better than we're getting it done now. That includes the things the mayor said, the main things. The right-of-way maintenance contract would be the main thing. We would ask to have the opportunity to take back and hopefully do as well or better. The improvements, infrastructure improvements, we won't be doing all of that. There's no way we can do that, but we can certainly do a portion of it and save some money there from what we do in street maintenance and drainage maintenance, those budgets now. 92 codes, as he mentioned. Also, would like to continue to work on our traffic signal capabilities. We've made some progress with that in recent years. We'll keep working on that. And then our shop, in the city shop, we would like to consider a request that we have an additional mechanic added. We would like to go back to particularly help in the police department. Spoken with Chief Purtle about that. We have in the past they had a mechanic out there that we had a spot in the shop. We're suggesting that we could benefit from having an additional mechanic, but we would dedicate a person to the police department. They would always be a priority if they needed it. If they weren't needing it, then we could use them for other things in our shop. But the main focus for that position would be to help the police department with regular maintenance and repair as appropriate for them, to keep them rolling on things that can be worked out. So those are the main additions to what we would like to do in our services and continue to grow and move forward as we've been trying to do in recent years. If we set the main priorities, as you look through here, I mean, obviously there's a lot of money requested for all the things like the mayor said. We do feel like we've got about $500,000 that we can save from eliminating the right-of-way contract, from reducing some of the work we do outside from drainage and street maintenance, and adding this maintenance technician, and all that across all those budgets. We feel like there's significant money to be saved there. It is going to require significant money to be spent to get us there. I feel like within a 2-year period or so, we'll be probably saving enough to pay for most of the equipment and things that we're doing, personnel-related costs, additional personnel, and increasing what we have now for the personnel we have in-house now. That may take a little